First of all, check if you have a compiler installed. Open a terminal and enter clang --version. You will see a version of your compiler if you have it installed. If you haven't, then a window will appear and propose you to install development tools. Click install and enter the previous command again. After the installation, open Visual Studio Code, which I assume you can download and install on your own from the official website. Now let's open a folder where we will store our project. Click here, then choose an empty folder or create a new one. I've already done that, so I just open my YouTube folder. Then let's install a C++ extension that will allow us to code in those languages in the Visual Studio Code. In the search bar, enter C++ and then install a C++ extension from Microsoft by clicking Install button on the extension. After the installation, go back to your Explorer inside Visual Studio Code, and now let's organize our project. Let's create a new folder called src, where we will put our source code. And inside that folder, we will create main.c. It's an entry point of our program. Now let's write a basic program that just prints hello world to the console. Here we go. Now let's create a new folder called build, where we will compile our program to. Before setting up Visual Studio Code to compile and run our program with a single button, we must understand how to compile our program without any software except a terminal. So let's open an integrated terminal inside Visual Studio Code by pressing Command J. To compile our program, we must enter clang command, then we must write a path to the file that we're going to compile. In our case, it's inside src and is our main.c. Then we must write the path to the folder where we will compile our code. In our case, it's build folder. Add argument O by writing -O and then writing path to our folder. And we must write a name of our program. For example, main. Press enter and now we see in our build folder a main program. To run it, write build main inside the integrated terminal. And you will see the output of our program that just prints hello world. Now we understand how to compile our code in the terminal, and now we can set up Visual Studio Code. To do that automatically, go to debug section and click on create a launch.json file. You will see a context menu that offers you to select a predefined configuration. If you missed it, just click Ctrl space and you will see the context menu again. Select C++ launch. Now we have configuration in JSON format. You can read about all of these parameters in the Visual Studio Code documentation, but I will explain only necessary options. First of all, we can rename our configuration. For example, run main.c. It will appear up here. Then we must enter program name that the Visual Studio Code will run. We enter that for program option. There is already an example. We delete this text and put our path to our compile file that is inside the build folder. The workspace folder that you can see right here is our root folder that we opened in Visual Studio Code as our project. Next, we must set external console to true to be able to input values into our program. And here the configuration is done. Now we can press F5 to run the program, and it will run our program in the external console. But we don't want to build our program inside a console and then run it in Visual Studio Code. So we must create a task that will do that for us. A task in Visual Studio Code is an action that we can use to complete something before running a program or after it. So open your main.c file again and press Command-Shift-P to open a command palette. Then enter tasks, configure task, and select clang build active file. It will create the tasks.json that contains predefined configuration for task to build our program. We can again rename the tasks. For example, clang build main.c file. Then we enter a command that we will complete. In our case, it's clang that we entered early when we were building our program. You can erase it and enter on your own clang. Then we can see 3 extra arguments. The important one is G argument that allows us to debug our code. Then we select a file with what we're going to compile. In our case, it's src main.c. Don't forget to enter workspace folder. Then we see output argument that will build our program to the folder workspace folder build main. The task is done. Now we must run the task before launching our program. To do that, open launch.json and add option pre-launch tasks and select clang build main.c file that we have created recently. Now to demonstrate that everything works fine, let's change our code. Now we can run our program by pressing Ctrl F5 or just F5 to debug our code and see that nothing has changed. I'm a little bit misspelled and here created a new trash folder. Let's run our program again and we will see that our program has been changed. The setting up Visual Studio Code for C and C++ is done. Everything works the same for C++ code.